And now, if you would, let me introduce you to my world record lake trout. Hey folks, do me a favor, practice CPR, catch, photo, and release. The future of fishing is truly in your hands. Hi everyone. Hey, if you're from the Midwest, you've been dealing with some pretty nasty weather. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. Central Minnesota really got blasted last night. Some parts of the metro got hit really bad. And there's leaves, debris, and trees down all over the place. Hey, I got a question for you. We're going to start off with a question tonight. What do you think's the most versatile musky lure on the planet? What do you think it is? I'm not talking about brand. I'm talking about style, type. What do you think is the most versatile bait you can carry in your boat? If you had to choose one bait to put in your boat, what would it be? I've heard people say bucktails. I've heard people say, if the topwater fanatics, they say a favorite topwater that they enjoy. And there's some value in that. But if you said bucktails, topwater, or crankbaits, you're missing the boat. You really are. Why? Because the number one most versatile bait you can throw out there today is a spinnerbait. That's right, a spinnerbait. Tonight we're going to talk about spinnerbaits. We're going to talk a little bit about all that stuff that makes spinnerbaits so popular, and I'll show you why. We're going to break down some footage. We're going to take you into some stuff. And hey, don't leave the show early tonight. Or if you do leave early tonight, make doggone sure that you watch it in the rerun, because I'm saving something for the end of this show that I think you're going to really enjoy. In the meantime, if you would, this is FishnStixTV, folks. Do us a big favor. Help us grow, please. Follow, like, and share. Now, we're stumbling around here trying to get audience, and we're trying to make things work. And we're having a lot of fun doing it. But if you could, help us out a little bit. And while I'm on the subject of helping out, I want to take a couple of seconds and introduce you folks to a brand new effort out there. Brandon Shefford, who has come out with a new musky site, folks. It's called Musky Network. It's muskynetworkcom. You want to go online, you want to check it out. He's got chat rooms, groups, he's got videos, he's got blogs, forums, he's got all kinds of stuff going. And what he's looking for, like everybody else, looking for material, content, the content that can make things actually better for you. If you take a look at his members, he's got 127 members, and he started this thing only about a week ago. So that is really cool. If you get over to his photo side of it, he has got just an enormous amount of fish. And it almost makes me feel bad because he's got so many big fish on here. It makes me think that we might not be doing everything so perfect. There's a lot of guys out there. There's pages and pages and pages of these fish. And that's what musky fishing is all about. It's sharing these things. And we're going to be posting our videos up on here as well as our other people. Now you can see we have some of the previous shows up, so you can go on here and watch the shows there. If you're not watching them on YouTube, you can also watch them there. So if you would, really, just go check it out. It's called Musky Network. It's Brandon Shepard's new effort, and I think you'll find it really exciting. At least I did. When Brandon got a hold of me and he said what he was doing, I thought, oh wow, this is so cool. I really, really do. I appreciate it. Hey, we've heard about prey-predator relationships. If you're in the world of fishing, doesn't matter what kind of fishing you're doing, prey-predator relationships are a huge part. You need to understand them. You need to understand them in a big way. So with that being said, I want to show you something that kind of relates to prey-predator relationships. It's kind of fun, and I'm going to show you a clip, and then I'm going to come back and show you another clip. This is kind of cool. This is the raw understanding of prey-predator relationships. Nice. You want to see it again in slow motion? Watch this. Oh my goodness. There's some people out there with a real warped sense of humor. I'm telling you. Oh wow. That's like the poodle that got off the dock, didn't make it back. I don't want to go into that story at all, but the truth of the matter is prey-predator relationships are a cool thing. When we talk about muskies, we talk about a fish that eats a large portion of its body size in a normal setting. There's a lot of people out there that say, when do you downsize, when do you upsize, how do you do things? Well, it's relative, and you have to choose those incidences yourself. There's no way anybody can do it for you. But I want to show you a piece that Cody John Walters put together, and I find it very interesting. It is quite frankly phenomenal.
He does not want to let go.
Imagine being out kayaking and witness this, folks.
That's a huge northern too. Look at that. Don't spook him. Don't spook him. I got a good video now. It's actually going this time. Jesus.
Isn't that cool? That is the coolest thing I've seen.
He does not want to let go. Hey, move.
That is so cool. And to be able to be out there in the water and see that is something you'll never ever going to forget. Now, it's hard to estimate the size of that fish, but I'm going to guess that muskie to be well into the 40s, possibly into the early 50-inch class. Again, there's no way to know. There's no relativity. The kayak oar gives you some idea, but there's depth perception and everything involved. But the truth of the matter is these fish will eat 1/3 of their length in a normal meal. So don't be surprised when something comes along the side of your boat and decides to take a big hunk out of it. It really is. I said that spinnerbaits were versatile. I said that they were the most versatile things on the planet. Well, I want to show you the only patented musky spinnerbait on the planet. Folks, this is a lure called the Assassin X. Now, we're going to be talking about baits in detail. And the reason we're talking about baits is I've had a number of people email me in the last week and a half asking me to please keep covering baits. It's baits that are important, and I agree, lures are very important. However, when you use a lure, why you use a lure, and which lure you use all have to be in concert. If all you're doing is choosing a brand name, it's not doing you one bit of good. You have to understand when to choose these lures. I'm going to take you into the archives, and we're going to set up now on a couple of fish as we move through here and discuss the versatility of the spinnerbait, the bucktail, and all of these blade baits that are becoming commonplace in today's world.
Vince Segafredo, our location is Eagle Lake. Interesting story amongst this particular fish. Our conditions on August 18th, 1991 were brutal. Our winds were southwest at 10 miles per hour after an incredible cold front of 4 days long. Our air temps were 68 degrees. Our water temps were 72 and holding, and our skies were partly cloudy. I don't think the water could get any colder than 72 degrees, to be honest with you. John Alden night sonar tables would indicate that we had a major or a minor, or did we? Our time of catch was at 1:50 p.m. If we look at our p.m. periods, we'll see there was no minor, and the major was at 6:55. Our moon phase was in the first quarter, and our sunset was at 7 p.m. Then what made the difference? What made this fish catchable? Well, folks, it's something that we call transition. Fish utilize areas during transition, and we took one little obstacle out of this mix and put it to use. We'll talk about that in a second. However, there's a reason that I'm on this system with Vince Segafredo. I was supposed to be on Lake of the Woods fishing with Vinny. He was supposed to be fishing the area where I had broken the world record on a houseboat trip. Unfortunately, the houseboat was damaged, and there was no muskie fishing for us on Lake of the Woods. We opted to go to Eagle Lake, and I'm here to tell you that Vinny wasn't happy with that at all. His friends had told him there are no big fish on Eagle Lake, especially where we fish. Truth of the matter is, I was convinced I could get Vinny on a big fish. The first day, we hit every key spot you could imagine. I'm telling you, if I knew about it, we fished it. And you know what? Our results were dismal. Not a single solitary fish. However, on the second day, at about noon, or actually about 11 o'clock, Vinny started to get the hackles up, and I had to find fish. If we identify the graphic, we'll notice a prominent point up in the center. This is a key classic spot that I would normally look for muskies on. Just below that would be the smaller point that would have been off Vinny's left shoulder. In the center of that, in that nice inside turn, is exactly what we're looking for. It's called a transition area. However, it's not just a transition area. There are other elements that have to be playing in order for this to work. We had it. We had a little bit of sunlight, a little bit of warming trend, and a little bit of chop, focusing a great amount of warming trend right in that inside turn. And the rest is basically history. Now, the truth of the matter is this is the time when you want to throw spinnerbaits, folks. Those blades slow throbbing in that water column is just what the doctor asked for.
Big fish, need a net, need a net.
So as you can see, paying attention to a simple little detail, as simple as a 1 or 2 degree warming trend along a shoreline can be all it takes to put one of these monsters in the boat. However, Vinny and I didn't put just one of these in the boat. We didn't put 2 in the boat. The fact is, under these conditions, Vinny and I put 3 muskies well over 50 inches in a single opportunity. You note the muskie we've got in the graphic? This muskie is literally hovering right along the shoreline itself. You can see the light chop on the surface. That light chop is actually being influenced by the solar radiation of the sun. Although the lake itself is very cool, this little bitty inside code that we've got seemed to entrap that warmer water along that fast vertical breaking shoreline. Keeping in mind, it's very dark water and the depth never gets below 6 feet deep in this particular area. So that fish simply cuddled up to that shoreline, came up in the water column to take advantage of the warming.
Whoa! I'm telling you, this is a dynamite fish. I gotta get her back in the water though, okay? I wanna get her off over this side if I can. This is an absolutely huge fish. Oh, sweetheart. Come on, babe.
So why do I say that the spinnerbait is the most versatile bait? Now, most of you don't know I've got a bass background, an extensive bass background, tournament fishing. And you'll hear tournament pros all over the country that fish largemouth bass. They'll say the same thing. The spinnerbait is the most versatile bait you can throw. Why? Because you can do everything from bulge it on the top to slow roll it on the bottom. You can flutter it down. You can fish cabbage, you can fish rock, you can fish even the edges of milfoil successfully with a spinnerbait. I want to be talking as we go a little bit longer here tonight. I'm going to talk about a very particular spinnerbait that really meets all that criteria. The Assassin does well in a bunch of different places, and it's unique with the blades that literally make contact with one another. You have a low frequency on the top of the bait, you have a higher frequency on the main shaft, and you actually have a metallic sound that comes off of those baits colliding. No other spinnerbait on the planet does that. But however, you may not want that. You may want something more stealthy. You may want something that focuses its ability to come through the weed beds and around the edges and stuff. And that's why a spinnerbait is versatile. You can add weight to the front of a spinnerbait to make it heavier while you're in the boat with a little bit of lead. You can add it back by the hook section so it can't even be seen. You can do tons and tons of things with a spinnerbait. In previous shows, you've seen me take spinnerbaits and color them with Sharpie pins in the boat. I can change the appearance of that bait. I can then roll it down in the water column deeper than what the fish I would normally challenge and still be able to catch those fish. That's why the spinnerbait is the most versatile bait there is. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. There, on your left, you can almost see it. One of the most magnificent sights on the planet. Lake Athabasca nestled just below the 60th parallel. Lake Athabasca hasn't changed in nearly 1,000 years with its pristine shorelines, pure crystal clear water you can actually drink, and countless fish. Boy, has she got fish. That is for everyone willing to travel to Otherside River Lodge. From the magnificent world-class northern pike that prowl these waters to the oldest and biggest lakers on the globe, Athabasca has it all.
Other Side River Lodge caters to the true sportsman seeking an all-American plan guided package with 3 incredible meals a day and memories you won't find anywhere else. Records have been broken by guests at Other Side River Lodge in the past. You could be next. Book your dream trip of a lifetime to Other Side River Lodge, where fishing dreams do come true. Call Cliff or Stella toll-free at 1-877-922-0957.
Hi everyone, Bob Mehsikomer here for Grant Rods. You know, musky fishing's a tough deal, and the job's not done till she's in the bag. Well, how do you do that? It's pretty simple. You need big dog rods from Grant Rods. For your next rod, call them at 847-577-0848. Building custom rods since 1983.
All right, let's separate ourselves from the spinnerbait for a second, because we just showed you a Jim Grant commercial. Now the reason for that is because Grant makes great rods, but if you're anything at all worth your salt and you're a fisherman, you're not carrying one stick, you're carrying a boatload of them. And I'm not saying that because I want to be bragging about buying a bunch of rods. I'm saying it because it's necessity. Today, the angler that throws blade baits has a propensity for longer and longer rods, 9 foot, 9.5. And to be honest with you, the boat I fish out of doesn't require that 9 foot, 9.5 foot rod. Therefore, I kind of stay back to the 8 foot range. Most of those 9.5 foot rods, they lengthen the rod blank back at the butt anyway. So that being said, I can reach all I need to reach. Now, as a fisherman doing a television show, I'm not going to show you this ever. See that? I got hooked up on a rock. Now, most fishermen out there, what would they do? Blow the thing back to the boat. Ah, it's a wasted cast. But I don't think you want to be doing that. Paying attention to what's behind that bait, especially with blade baits, is very critical. 50 to 70% of your hookups are going to come right at the boat.
Trolling motor's going to hit this rock, and I got this fish. There she is, lip hook.
That is a Jim Grant big dog musky rod I'm using right there, and it's an awesome tool. I'm going to define why it's so cool as we move forward in tonight's show, but it is definitely the best blade bait rod I've ever thrown. Now let's take a look at this figure eight, because figure eighting, like I said, is going to be critical to you. Everybody has a different way of figure eighting, and they're all emotional about it being right or wrong, or somebody else is being right or wrong. So I don't want to challenge that. What I want to do is define how I figure eight. Matt Thompson will tell you I'm the world's worst figure eighter, but I boat a ton of fish on figure eights. And when you're pulling draw baits, you can expect a calamity at the side of the boat. I have a tendency to dive my rod down in the center of the cast. I come up on the outsides, pull it over the top of the head of the fish, and get the fish to respond. Now what I'm doing is I'm triggering an instinct of that fish by taking it away from it. If you're down there deep, swinging that thing around and around and around, you may be successful, but I don't think you're nearly as successful as trying to trigger the instinctive nature of the fish. And I do that by pulling it high on the outside, deep in the center, and speed it up as I go around and trip that fish. Now you'll notice that rod is taking a heck of a beating. Big fish have a tendency to own the world when they're at the side of the boat. You'll hear me clicking the reel. It's a free spool, we call it, and we use the free spool during the challenge of a big fish at boatside. And if you got a guy in the boat with you that you want to remain friends with, don't yell at him with the net in his hand. Take your time. Kurt Fenton has fished with me many, many times, and he's an excellent net fisherman. So that being said, keep your rich friendship. Don't yell. Take your time. Be patient. Work the fish to the boat, and you'll put them in the bag. Here it is in real time.
I'm on preschool. I'm not going to do anything with this fish. He's barely cooked.
Okay.
This is only one of many, many, many big fish Kurt Fenton and I have caught together. Many.
myself by deep water. Good job.
I thought the trolling motor was going to hit that other big rock.
Yeah.
It looked, I mean, I didn't miss it by 2 inches. She ate that little bitty AK.
You just made it.
Jody's going to be so mad.
You got these blades dialed in, Bob.
Yeah, they are. Both the small blades and the big blades.
He just made that bait not 10 minutes
Right
ago.
down there, yeah. Idling up, I sat down and made this bait.
The summer sun never sets upon the Alaskan pike of the Unoko, in the heart of breathtaking Alaska. Evenings will be shared reliving the battles of monster pike. The Midnight Sun Trophy Pike Hunt is on, aboard the 67-foot luxury houseboat, and you're in command. If you're not, you should be. Contact the Midnight Sun Trophy Pike Adventures by calling 800-440-7453 or email them at mstpa50@gmail.com.
And that's another thing you should be aware of, folks. Spinner baits and blade baits, what we call blade baits today, because few of them have bucktail on them anymore, work great for northern pike and muskie alike. Now the lure I've got up here for you right now is the M&G spinnerbait. Marv Kiley and Grizz Brueggemann designed this lure years ago. Marv and I fished together for many, many years. This lure right now is being manufactured over in Wisconsin by two really, really great people, Jeff and Tina Frick, and they've got Slither tackle. And not only have they got Marv Kiley's traditional M&G, but they've got an entire line of baits in their family of lures. Take a few minutes, and if you would, go over and take a look at their site, take a look at what they've got to offer, and I guarantee you there's not any two more quality people than you'll ever meet, Jeff and Tina Frick from Slither Tackle. But that being said, let's move back now. I want to take you back, and I want to talk a little bit about Marv Kiley. I want to talk about the bait itself. There's one thing that you need to know when you talk about spinnerbaits. It is, every lure has some sort of quality about it that makes it unique, whether it's the Assassin or it's the M&G. In the case with the M&G, folks, I'm going to tell you something. This is what makes the lure so fabulous. You see that thin wire construction? That's what makes this lure so productive. Now, these lures are teamed with single hooks. So like I said earlier, you want to pull through vegetation. That M&G is the perfect lure to do it. You can flutter, you can flirt with the edges of it, you can actually take it through some of the pockets, get your rod tip low, and even blow it back through that cabbage with those single hooks and be very, very productive. But that thin wire, folks, what happens with that thin wire is it vibrates. That thin shaft doesn't subdue the blades, it enhances the blades. So if you're pulling back an M&G, you can feel that thing, even with those small blades that are on it, you can feel that thing all the way through the rod. And that's because it works. It's as simple as that. That thin vibration, that thin wire makes that vibration so perfect. Now we talked about the cabbage. We talked about versatility. Slow roll it, pump it, drop it, flutter it, pull it up, bulge it, do whatever you want with it. Well, Marv Kiley, the gentleman who created the M&G, he's a master at his own baits. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
A double line of cabbage. There's one inside next to the weed point. There's one in front of us here, I guess about 15 feet. Then there's a little bit of an opening, and there's another cabbage line that runs right on the edge of the break. It's about 15 feet in front of us.
So you got a void zone in there.
Right. There's scattered periodic coontail cabbage combinations, and they're not much to get excited about. But right out here in front of us, about 15 feet out, that's what we're looking for. That's our living room.
And then out beyond it is what? A coontail and the cabbage point going way out past that the land point.
Right. There's one rock out there. Pretty hard to see right now, but it's there.
I'll get an awaker over it a couple of times. The only reason I'm throwing this is because of the extreme dark water. Usually in falling water temperatures I won't throw this lure, but this water is so churned up it just might be what it takes to do it. You're throwing what, the black hair?
Right, black spinnerbait.
Knowing what is beneath your boat is incredibly important. In this case, Marv and I had chosen what would generally be considered a point, if we were considering only the obvious, where in fact it was the weed line beneath the surface we were most interested in. In this case, there was an inside and an outside element to our weed line. The fish were actually relating to the outside weed line rather than the more shallow version known as the inside. This is often the case when muskies relate to such areas during periods of transition.
Oh, some catfish.
Stay with it.
Watch the electric.
Yeah? Oh, we're all right. Good move. She swallowed that thing, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
Stay with her. You gonna net this one?
Gonna have to.
Okay, just stay with her.
She came right up underneath the boat and about gave me a heart attack.
Okay, you're gonna have to lift. There you go.
Up and over. I mean, I never had a chance. I never seen her coming. She come right up from underneath the boat.
She did, huh?
Yeah. Just come ripping.
How big are we looking at?
I don't know. 50?
Oh yeah, nice fish.
51?
Nice fish, Marv. Nice fish. Okay, you get your tools ready. I got her, okay?
Okay. Now what?
Just go ahead. Let's just put her back. Let's let her go.
Oh, is she in a hurry?
Yep, she wants to get out of here.
Yeah, she's in good shape.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the blade baits, folks. The first one I'm going to show you is literally the shortest, smallest blade bait I throw. This is an AK Junior. It's a single body. Now, one of the things I want to tell you about today's world, you've got a combination of elements that are on these lures. Some people like a certain blade. Some people like Colorado as opposed to what we've got. And also, you've got the body structure itself. You've got Mylar and Marabou as options. You also have bucktail on some of these baits today. So you have a complete array of different materials that you can choose for your baits themselves. And color is a huge, huge part. If you're looking to fool that fish in nature's rhythm, if you will, or break it up with the most gaudy thing you've got out there, you can buy it on today's market. One of the things that I like to do on the AK series is I like to mix up a plated blade with a painted blade. It gives me a real neat look in the water. And I really like dark colors. Not necessarily black, to be honest with you, but dark colors. They give me a silhouette in the water column, as they will for you, and these fish will respond to that silhouette. There's a gaudy, gaudy color right there. But I tell you, on the Winnipeg River, this is a killer bait. On a number of different lakes, Cedar Lake, Ontario, Eagle Lake, Ontario, big time. Big time. But this is the lure that probably most people are missing the boat on. You hear people say, what's the number one lure you throw out there? Black. Well, I got news for you. In my world, I like to fix it up with the black and nickel combination, even in the Mylar bodies. That is a big, big issue for me. All right, let's move forward now, and we're going to catch up with our folks at Which Bay here real quick. And while you're listening to this, I'm going to prepare a picture for you, and we're going to talk about Jim Grant rods and why I use them.
Big fish. This side over here.
That is a 50 fish. Folks, you're seeing it right now. My 100th just came in the net at Which Bay Camp. Holy smokes, Rocky. She ate that thing. Now, rods have changed a lot over the years. And one of the things that I find on Jim Grant rods that you're not going to find anyplace else, a two-fingered pistol grip. Why is this important? Well, the first time you put this thing in your hand, you're going to find out how relaxing it is. You're going to find out what it's like to have that thing sitting in your hand and you're not having to bear down on it just to make sure it stays in your hand. You know, anglers today are being told that they have to throw these mega high-speed reels. Now, if you look at the weight of these mega high-speed reels, they're heavy. Some of these reels weigh a pound, maybe more. And when you combine that with a 9.5-foot rod, the amount of weight you have in your hand is virtually intolerable. And there are devices being designed to eliminate some of that. But Jim Grant has already eliminated it in his custom-made Big Dog Rod series with the double pistol grip. When you lay this thing in your hand, it goes between your fingers. You can literally open up your palm. You don't have to squeeze your reel to death, and you have total control of what's going on. If one of these big girls comes up at the side of the boat and decides to eat you, you've got absolute hands-on assurance that you're going to keep the rod and reel in your hand. And this is what I'm talking about. This is a Mayaboo, folks, and they work well. Oh, yes. Changing the direction coming up at the side of the boat is one of those tripping triggers you need to be aware of. You may not have to figure eight on every cast, but changing a 90-degree turn at the side of the boat is critically important.
Want me to come back there?
I'm going to bring her up here if I can. I don't think she's hooked that well. I got her on free spool.
I can come back there if you need me to.
It's a big fish.
Yeah, it's a nice fish. Oh, that's a big fish.
In the bag!
All right.
Oh man, she come off of there. She comes straight up and just nipped it right at the end. That is a monster.
She's already off the hook.
That's a Witch Bay monster.
Already off the hook.
That is a monster. She came up, I kid you not, pulling up that Mayaboo, the gold on with the orange and black.
Yeah.
Pulling it up, and all of a sudden I watched her come up and her mouth just come from the depths, and all she did was tap the back of the bait. Yes! Okay, here, what we're going to do the same thing we did before.
All right.
Oh, that's a giant fish.
That is a very big fish.
She's an easy 53, no doubt there. Oh man, and I tell you, okay, we're going to do the same thing now. We got a lot of drift here, we're good.
All right.
On that Grant rod.
The bag.
On that new Grant rod.
Let me know when you got it.
I got it.
Okay.
This is a big fish. You're going to have to help me with the handle.
All right.
Oh, this is a monster. That is a big fish. Oh my Lord, look at the size of this girl. Oh yes. That is a very big fish.
That is a very big fish.
Let's see what we got here.
Good looking animal right there.
Yeah. Man, she ate that. She just come up. I was coming up and I thought, oh man, look at this. Boom, there she ate it. Okay, cutters are right here, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it out of the net so I don't get hooked. She dashes and darts one time and it's over.
Yeah. That way nobody gets hooked.
Yeah.
There.
Now she took it between the wires here. There we go.
A big fish.
When she dents the side of the boat,
she'll take some paint off.
That is a huge fish. That was on that Grant Big Dog rod. A new one he sent me.
Yeah, in there. So.
All right.
All right, let me explain it one more time for her. If you want a 6 foot, 7 foot, 7.5, 8 foot, 9, 9.5 foot rod, Jim Grant's your man. You want the twin pistol grip like I'm using right here, Jim Grant's your man. Don't be afraid to look him up, folks, Grant Rods. I'm telling you, it'll make a huge difference in your game.
Bring her back. Oh, no, hold tight, hold tight. Hi everyone, Bob Mehsikomer here. You know, I've got a place, a very, very special place in my heart. It's Osborne Bay.
Food's been excellent. Randy did a great job guiding service.
Randy started taking us out when I was 10, and we've been catching big muskies ever since.
The accommodations here are fantastic.
Check out Century Lodge on Osborne Bay. Come on, bring her back.
I got a very good friend of mine, lives down in Chicago, and fishes with me from time to time, and he and I have had some great times on the water. And I'm going to unveil a piece of footage for you that really sends a big message. There's a lot going on here. It talks about why we caught the fish, how we caught the fish. It also talks about second effort. Musky fishermen have to understand that fish don't come every cast in this sport. They're literally hundreds and hundreds of hours of pure boredom broken by, well, a couple of moments of sheer pandemonium. And if you're shooting shows like we do, it's costly when you're not putting those big fish in the boat. This video actually tells the whole story, but I'm going to let it take over and do the rest of it for you because, hey, I'll tell you something else too. Jim Gracka and myself were organizing a group of anglers going up into Canada in August of next year. So email me at bob.m at FishnStixTV.com if you want to be part of that. It's going to be a good time. Right now, let's watch Jimmy.
Number 6 with Jim Gracka out of Century Lodge on Eagle Lake in Ontario. Our date was Friday, July 28th, 1995. Our time of catch, 6:25 p.m. Sunrise was at 4:58 a.m. and our sunset was at 7:28 p.m. Our PM minor was 5:25 and our PM major was 11:40. And our lunar cycle put us in the new moon period on July 27th.
That weed bit should be right about there, ain't it?
Yeah, you're coming through it.
I know to you this might be sounding a bit like a broken record, but that's the way musky fishing is. Thousands of hours of boredom interrupted by fleeting moments of pandemonium. It also testifies to the authenticity of what you are witnessing and the effectiveness of our decisions. We are not fishing some stock pond. There are no staged fish scenes within any of my videos, and what you see is what we got after some pretty long hours on the water. That's simply reality. It's musky fishing. In the case of Jim Gracka and the fish you're about to see, it was no different. We were in the 11th hour. The Suburbans were actually warming up, and we were on our way to the landing when I aborted leaving in hopes of one last chance at a big girl. Our largest, a 47-incher, simply wasn't good enough for you folks. In my opinion, we needed bigger. We headed up the lake out of Osborne Bay looking for more vertical areas, especially areas that would be exposed to early and elongated shadows. The spot I chose was an area where I had been working a larger fish previously, but could not connect. Every time I saw her, the conditions were exactly the same as what we were experiencing. So why not return to known real estate and make it all happen? The area was comprised of one of the largest islands around. It formed a slightly tapering rock point that matured into a vivid, vertical breaking inside turn. In the turn itself, there was Cabbage. And in Eagle Lake, Cabbage can be everything. But if she were there, what would she eat? Now that's the million-dollar question, and one we all ponder.
I'm going to turn the boat. Keep casting. I'm going to turn the boat around.
As you can see, we had a slight rock formation running off the point. However, the real magic was the turn combined with the vegetation. It's this vegetation that allows the predator to move into position even before the shadows are complete. And in my opinion, it's the bigger fish that move first on a spot, and only do so when the conditions are right. Excuse me for saying this, but none of these big girls got big by being stupid. Jim's lure choice was that of a Strike King Magnum King, and for good reason. He could work the water column completely and do so with a profile that the muskies favor. that being the profile of a smallmouth bass. The Magnum King is a perfect representation of this offering and would complement any musky angler's arsenal. Jim, unlike myself, was not convinced that the fish we were looking for would readily come to the top. Therefore, thoroughly working the water column might prove to be best based on the physical environment we were dealing with and our past week's results. So in fact, he could bat cleanup with the Magnum King in more cases than one.
Oh, you got her, just stay with her, you got her. Good job, big guy. Let me get this out of the way.
I don't think she's hooked good.
That's okay, just use your free spool if you have to. Can you bring her my way?
Not yet. She don't even know she's hooked yet, really.
That's okay. If she come around this way, just keep her coming.
She's coming. She's coming.
Okay, just keep her coming.
She's mine. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. That's what I saw you on, babe. You're mine.
You got a 50-incher.
No.
Yeah. Woo! It's a high 40. You got a good hold of her?
Holy moly.
What do you think of that? Huh?
Oh, amazing. Amazing. What a fish.
You didn't deserve that.
Oh, I worked hard for this fish, believe me.
Okay,
I worked hard. I deserve every inch of it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Hang tight. Okay, down with her. You might go to your knees. Be easier. Oh, nice job.
Thank you.
You grab her by the tail. You want to hold on her by the tail. Okay, now don't let her go until she's ready. You might want to lay right on your belly and just kind of resuscitate her a little bit.
Okay. What do you think?
I think 50-51.
All right, I'm going to cast the question. Did Jim catch the fish or did I? I told Jim after he put the fish in the boat, I said, it's 50% mine, young man, 50% mine, young man. And to this day, I think he debates that. Hey, I told you if you stayed on long enough to see the end of the show, that I had a little treat for you. I've had the opportunity to travel all over the Muskie region, from out east to Minnesota, Wisconsin, throughout Canada, and I've had an opportunity to get some really, really big fish. Some of you folks have seen some of those really, really big fish. But again, we started this conversation tonight. We started this show tonight by talking about versatility. We started talking about spinner baits, what we now call blade baits in today's world. But the truth of the matter is, I was throwing these spinner baits years and years and years ago. I've just got one more to show you, folks, because I lost a really, really big fish a few years ago on a giant jackpot, and it was truly a big fish, but I've got a lot of mineral fish like that, and when we're talking about spinner baits, we're talking about big fish. I'm not going to go away without showing you this one.
Big fish. Big fish. I only got one hook in it.
I have nothing to say.
Yes, I do. This is FishnStixTV, folks. This is Bob Mehsikomer. I'm asking you to please help us grow. Get people to follow us, like us, and share. Because what we're doing is trying to disseminate information. We're trying to teach people how to, why to, where to, the best things they need to know to go musky fishing. In recap of what we're talking about tonight, the Assassin Spinnerbait. Absolutely magnificent. No question about it. You want to get over and get in touch with the folks at Slither Tackle. Get yourself an M&G if that's what it's all about. It is very important if you're out there trying to catch fish. And if you're looking for the right equipment to do it with, well, Grant Rods will build that custom-made rod for you that'll get the job done. Let me show you one more bait that we didn't talk about tonight. We talk about versatility. Folks, this is called a roller. This is one of the most incredible baits. This is a huge monster. It's giant and it weighs a ton. You know, people that are slow rolling or pulling soft rubber back and they're getting fish to eat, these rubber products out there, they lose a lot of those fish because they bite down on the rubber itself and they don't get a good hook. This thing will comb the water depths. We take fish off the top of humps that are 25 feet deep. This is around 80, 90, 100 foot of water around some of these humps. And we'll throw these out. They helicopter down so nicely, and then we'll slow roll these big thumping double blades back. And it's amazing what comes up behind it. It really is. No doubt about it. You really want to take a look at it. And again, like I said, guys, get a hold of the folks over there at Slither Tackle. Say hi to them. Let them know you're on the planet. Let them know that you like what's going on. And don't forget Brandon's new musky site, folks. You want to take a look at it too, because he is out there doing what we're doing. He's trying to share more about the world of fishing, and that's a key thing. This is Bob Mehsikomer saying thanks for watching tonight. Hey, thanks for letting us come into your living room. Thanks for letting us to BS with you for a while. Contact me at bob.m at FishnStixTV.com. If you want to get involved in that August musky hunt that we're going on, I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of people there. There's going to be a lot of big fish caught. We're going to share a lot of information. I think it'd be a really good time. With that being said, I am going to say one more thing. It's how I close the show every week, folks. Go kick a little tail. God bless everybody, and thanks again. Bob Mehsikomer here, signing out for Simply Fishing, or Fishing Sticks. You know, when you've done Simply Fishing for 35 years, that's an easy slip. We'll see you next week.